Fat times school. Sleeping less than 6 hours increases your risk of being obese by 55% via several mechanisms. It can increase your hunger and decrease fullness by up to 30%. It's also stressful for your body, so leads to higher levels of cortisol, which can also increase appetite. Poor sleep also lowers your metabolism and leads to eating more the next day. This study found that 4 hours of sleep led to eating an extra 550.
How does stress make you gain weight? Well, you see, when your body perceives any kind of stress, it produces a hormone called cortisol. Cortisol is a natural stress hormone. This is wonderful when it's needed, but with our chronic stress-filled lifestyles, we're causing these big spikes of cortisol throughout our body. Now, cortisol, when you have too much of it, is notorious for that midsection weight gain, that little belly pudge. Now, that stuff is really bad because that's also known as visceral fat, which causes all sorts of other chronic illnesses. So how do you test for cortisol? Well, cortisol is a saliva test. Yes, it's not in the blood work. You can, but it doesn't give you right answers, but it's a saliva test. This is actually checked at 4 different times on the very same day because your cortisol levels have a rhythm to it. They actually are elevated at certain times and they decrease at certain times. So you want to make sure you're testing them to see exactly if your body is following a certain rhythm. Now, if your cortisol is off or when your cortisol is elevated, the symptoms are very similar to what you may experience in, say, your thyroid, or fatigue, your weight gain, your not sleeping well, your muscle aches and pains. Now, all these kind of actually sound like maybe what your thyroid was doing, right? So it makes sense to test these things to understand where your symptoms are coming from. Is it a thyroid problem or is it a stress-related problem? So get your cortisol levels tested, and if you don't know somebody that's doing that, get in touch with us. We'll show you how you can get that done. So like and follow.